Everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Debt Life with me, Chad Van Horn. Today, we're going to talk about counselor versus salesman versus scam artist, how to avoid being taken advantage of, because there's a lot going on out there, and there's many people that are desperate for money, and they might want to try to take your money. So before we get into it, always like to talk about a couple hot topics. First off, economic injury disaster loan. If you are a business owner and you have not heard about the Economic Injury Disaster Loan by the SBA, look into it. If your business is struggling, there's some good money out there, up to $2 million worth of money. Believe it or not, the SBA actually had money left over, so they opened up the program to a larger amount. So the documentation is actually pretty easy, up to $500,000, and then it becomes a little longer process if you try to go above $500,000. So again, go to sba.gov/EIDL. If your company is struggling and you're looking for somebody to help keep you afloat, the loan has fantastic terms. You're looking at about 3% interest rate, deferred payments for the first 2 years, payments over 30 years. So check that out if your business is struggling. That can be money that your business needs to get by. Moving forward and more related to the topic today, I recently had a client who was in the aviation industry, and they had a fantastic aviation attorney that did a good job for them in the past, and then the aviation attorney ended up filing a bankruptcy for them, and that ended up being one of the worst decisions they could have made. Just because somebody's a great aviation attorney doesn't make them a great bankruptcy attorney. I certainly don't know much about aviation other than I've represented a few aviation companies in bankruptcy because they've been hit so hard over the last couple of years. Excuse my voice. I was at the Steeler game this weekend screaming to try to get them motivated. So still a little raspy from that. But going back to that, you got to be really careful about who you work with, and especially when it comes into specialties. And bankruptcy obviously would qualify as a specialty, just like aviation law, criminal law, personal injury law. So what we're going to talk about over the next 10, 15, 20 minutes are how do you identify a counselor, somebody that's going to counsel you through and give you your best options, versus a salesman, somebody that has a product that they want to sell to you, versus a scam artist. So some of the true tell signs. First off, I always tell clients, if you last time you went to buy a car, you went to a Ford dealership, I assume that the person there was trying to sell you a Ford. That doesn't mean that they're a scam artist. They just believe in their product, and that's what they sell. So there are some car brokers out there that will be more of a counselor to you. I have a couple friends that do it, more of a concierge, where whatever car that you want, they'll go and they'll procure it for you, and they'll actually work with you. That's more of a counselor, but they're selling you a car, so that there's a hybrid there. And then, of course, the scam artist would be somebody that sells you a car, but they don't have the title to the car. It's somebody else's, and they scam you out of it, which, believe it or not, that actually happens somewhat frequently down here in South Florida. So be careful with that if you're ever going to buy a car. But dealing with debt, when you there's many different options when you're dealing with debt, from debt consolidation to working with a bankruptcy petition preparer or an online resource to file your own, to working with a Chapter 7 attorney, working with a Chapter 13 attorney, working with a Chapter 11 attorney, or working with a firm that handles all those different options. So let's go through some of those options. The first is credit consolidation. There are a lot of companies out there that are not related to attorneys, and all they do is credit consolidation. What that is, basically you have to default on all your debt, and then they'll renegotiate the debt, and you get into a monthly payment with them. And then the goal is for that monthly payment over a 3 to 5 year period to be enough to settle with the debt and pay that company's fees. The benefit to that, obviously, is it keeps bankruptcy off of your record. The detriment is, generally speaking, it doesn't have a huge success rate. So it's nice to know your options. You should certainly know that consolidation option, but you want to know all your options. So to me, somebody that is selling that consolidation to you, that truly is a salesperson. They have a product. Some of the people might lean more counselor, that if it's not best for you, maybe they advise you to talk to somebody else. But remember, these people are getting paid if you get into their program. If you don't get into their program, then they don't get paid. So that, generally speaking, anybody that's dealing with getting paid off of sales, commission type basis, that's when you're looking for that salesman or salesperson mentality. So they're not really looking for your best options necessarily. That doesn't mean they're trying to scam you. Maybe they do believe that that's your best option, but it's a limited scope of what they're going to sell to you because that's what they're offering. Now, obviously, the scam artist version of that, and there's unfortunately many of those, and there's a lot of scam artists that are calling cell phones saying, we're offering student loan forgiveness, we're offering debt forgiveness, call this number, and then they get you into this payment plan and they sell you on the payment plan, but they actually don't do anything on the back end. So your best scam artist, or the most effective scam artists, are the ones that sound legitimate, sound like they're going to do something, and there's always a need that they're selling to you, but they don't take care of that need on the back end. So so basically, if it was a consolidation or a student loan issue, it said you qualify for loan forgiveness, pay me $1,000 a month for 12 months, and I'll make your loans go away. You pay me the 12,000, and then I disappear. And I knew at the beginning that I couldn't make your loans disappear. I made those promises only to get your money. So if it's that old adage, if it sounds too good to be true, probably is. You want to contact somebody that's been around the block, if you will, and understands what's going on so that you can avoid those type of scams. And then, of course, a counselor is somebody that has your best interest at heart, so that can guide you through and counsel you through all the options. So obviously, attorneys are counselor of laws, but there's also financial counselors out there, and there's financial advisors. And the difference is, and you'll see by the approach, they're not really trying to steer you one way or the other at the beginning. They're trying to get as much information as possible, and then give you your options. And then, of course, if you ask, they'll tell you what they recommend. So it's one of those things where when you come in and meet with me, I'm not trying to sell you on debt negotiation, sell you on Chapter 7, sell you on Chapter 13. Give me all the information based on what I know. I'm going to tell you what I recommend from there. So those are a couple ways that you can tell the difference between the three. Always try to take your time as well. Don't commit right away to any of these. If they're really trying to put pressure on you, then you're looking at more of a salesman versus a scam artist, because somebody that really has your best interest will allow you time to answer. So I got some questions here coming in. What is the best place to search for verified reviews? Real people going through similar situations. Great question. So what I recommend is I recommend starting with a Google search. The more reviews, the better. Obviously, the more 5-star reviews, the better. Read through them. Google does a good job of sorting and making relevant reviews show up to the top. Obviously, if you're seeing only 5-star reviews and they seem like they're written by the company, be wary of that. So that's one of the main ways that you want to verify that a company is legitimate. First, how long have they been in business? So if they've been in business for 6 months, they don't have that reputation yet for you to really know. If we got another one coming up too. Look at this. This is coming in hot and heavy. So go through all the reviews, and you want to see how long the company's been around. Also, who are you meeting with? Are you meeting with a salesperson? Look at their title. Are you meeting with the owner of the company? Are you meeting with an attorney? Are you meeting with somebody that's been licensed? Feel free to ask questions. How many of these situations have you done in the past? Do you have any verifiable reviews? Do you have any verifiable documents that I could look at that have been filed with the court? In bankruptcy scenarios, everything that we file is public record, so I can tell you exactly how many cases that we have filed, and I can tell you the success rate that we've had. So we filed over 2,500 cases, I believe, at this point, and our discharge rate is in the high 90%. So let's go through a couple more questions. What if I'm unhappy with my current attorney? Great question. You're the boss. So if you're unhappy with your current attorney, you can certainly look around and speak to other attorneys. And at any time, if you want to make a switch, you're absolute right. So if you don't have a good feeling, then move on. Find somebody else that you can work with. It probably would be better for you and the attorney to not go through that bad relationship. Marcus, how can I be sure that the attorney has my best interest in mind and not just how much they'll make off of me? Another good question. When you go into it, you should get an accurate quote from an attorney or anybody that you're going to work with. And you want to know if that quote is the total or if there's going to be additional fees or if there's billable hours. Obviously, billable hours, that's an open-end cap to it. So the billable hours, you might have no idea how much time they're spending. And I don't love the billable hour model that historically has been for attorneys because it encourages attorneys to be less efficient. And I'm not saying that attorneys are being unethical or anything like that. It's just I like encouraging efficiency. And if you're taking a longer time and you're getting rewarded for it, I feel like it should be the opposite. If I can get you a quick result and that takes the stress away from you, I think that's more valuable than you saying, well, I put 100 hours into this. So when you go in, ask them, do you have flat fee available? Is this all in billing? Is this everything that's going to be included? Or what's the estimate for everything that's going to be? Dustin, why should potential clients be wary of inexperienced bankruptcy attorneys? Well, inexperienced attorneys are inexperienced people in their profession at all. They don't have, by definition, they don't have the experience to see everything that potentially can come down the road. So when you're dealing with somebody, and again, not all experience is good experience as well. So you want to make sure, even if you're dealing with an experienced attorney, that you look at what experience they have and is that experience relevant to you. For example, the Florida Bar rules will allow you to advertise verifiable results. Now, I'm undefeated in criminal law cases. So that means everybody that I've represented in criminal cases have gotten off. But that doesn't mean that I'm a good criminal attorney. That just means in this scenario that I'm actually inexperienced when it comes to criminal law. I've only had a couple clients, and they just happen to be clients where I was able to win. So now I know that if I get a criminal client in, I refer them out to Bruce, to Mike, to a criminal attorney that actually knows what the heck they're doing. And remember, it's not just about knowing the law. When you're inexperienced, you don't know the judges. You don't know how they react to certain arguments. You don't know opposing counsel who you could potentially make a deal with and shortcut things and make it less expensive for your client. So there's many different reasons why experience, especially in the law, is very important. So next question. Laverne, is it too late to seek counsel after my 341 meeting? So again, this is a bankruptcy question. If your 341 meeting doesn't go as expected, no, you can certainly look for another attorney. Now you got to be careful. If you have a good attorney that can fix everything and you've already paid them, then you should stay with them. But if you lose confidence in them, if they weren't following up, weren't doing, then you should potentially look for first have a conversation with the attorney and then look for other options if you're not happy with that. Let's go through it. Man, we got a lot of questions coming. Cindy, what's the difference between going with an attorney versus a financial person? Great question. Take a sip of water so you can actually understand what I'm saying. So the first thing, whoever you go with, especially if you're dealing with financial issues, whether it's investing money or whatnot, the first thing, you got to go with somebody that you trust. And that's even beyond talent. I would rather work with somebody that I trust beyond somebody that's extremely bright and talented that I don't trust. So whether you're going with an attorney or a financial advisor or financial planner, find somebody that you trust. If you don't trust the person, move on. Find somebody else. There's enough attorneys, enough financial advisors that find somebody that you trust that's going to do the right thing for you. And then determining whether to use an attorney or a financial planner, financial advisor. Obviously, it comes down to cost and services. So depending on what services you need and what the expenses are, then that's what's going to make the determination whether you're going to use a financial planner, advisor, or an attorney for those. Man, we got a lot of questions. Can I renegotiate a mortgage if I file for bankruptcy? Yes, there's a program in Chapter 13 and Chapter 7, which is called Mortgage Modification Mediation. You certainly can utilize that while going through it. Michelle, do we help with mortgage modifications every day? As many of you probably know, a lot of these forbearances from the mortgage companies have ran out. So at this point, you have to either work a modification, come up with the payments, or the bank is looking towards foreclosure. So definitely jump on that earlier than later. We got a yes, Michelle. I see you asked a couple times. Absolutely, we do. So if you needed help, feel free to go to chadvh.com or give us a call at the office. We'll take care of that. Brian, if I filed without an attorney initially and the trustee is hounding me for documents, can attorneys still take over my case? Absolutely. That's called going pro se. With things like bankruptcy and litigation and foreclosure, really anything legal, I would recommend trying to avoid going pro se because it ends up becoming more expensive to clean up the mess than it is to do it properly from the beginning. So just be very, very careful when you're doing that. We just put in the chat, if you're looking to talk to me about any of your specific issues, feel free